Give yourself to the dark side. You underestimate the power of the dark side.
Show me again the power of the darkness, and I will let nothing stand in our way.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be looking at the Casio G-Shock GX56BB-1 or BB-1. And I like to call this watch Cool King Kong because it is an extra large G-Shock watch. And what makes it kind of unique is that it's an extra large square G-Shock watch. So a lot of times the bigger G-Shock watches are the round, chunkier ones, but this one's square and it's huge. So one thing that you'll notice off the bat is that this 10 is a little bit shorter. So it's not quite as tall as the other 10, but so the watch comes with this manual, which I don't have the original box for it. And it comes with this small guide as well. We'll go ahead and pull it out. And here is that bad boy right here. So that is pretty dope. We'll go ahead and cut on the backlight, which isn't super bright or brilliant, but it does the job. It is, like I said, GX56BB-1. That's the model number. It's also known as model 3221. It's very shock resistant, as you can see. It has very, very thick resin rubber material around it. You know, the strap is a little bit thicker than your standard G-Shock watch. And then we'll go ahead and unhinge it. You can, oh shoot. Anyway, yeah, you can kind of do the drop thing with it, but anyway, it is solar powered. It does have an auto calendar, world time. It's matte black, obviously. So as you can see, so it does have the auto backlight function. And that's really neat. It does have a stopwatch. All right, so just to get into some brief specs on this watch, it is 55.5 by 53.6 by 17.5 millimeters. The watch is water resistant, 20 bars or 200 meters. It's mud resistant, very, very shock resistant, as you can see. All right, so let's get into what I really like about this watch. And the first thing is the color. I really, really like this matte black finish. I think it gives it a very strong, bold look on your wrist, and it looks very utilitarian. It's kind of like if you went to school with somebody who was kind of dorky, kind of goofy, and they grew and kind of bulked up over the summer and came back and dressed a little bit better, more svelte. That's kind of how this watch is. You know, normally square watches are a little bit smaller, but it is a little big for my wrist. When I look at it sometimes, and I'll show you, I'll insert a little clip here. It can kind of look like I'm wearing my dad's watch, but I think you can pull it off. I think today the style and the trend is bigger is better. Still, it's been that way for a little while, so I think you can get away with it if you're a smaller, mid-sized person. Just wear it with confidence. I feel like it's so big you could like backhand somebody in like a robbery or self-defense situation, kind of like. The thing I really like about this watch is that it is under $150. When it first came out, it was $150. I think now you can pretty much find it under $120. So I think that's really cool. I think a lot of times G-Shock watches can be like Jordans, where you have such a vast array of watches and little different model specs that you can kind of get lost with them, and they can kind of get really expensive. You know, you might be paying $200, $250 for a watch and not realize it has like one or two features that are different from one that costs like $120, like this one. Case in point is the GX56BB-1JF model. Now, if you're familiar with G-Shocks, you know that that is a Japanese domestic market model. The only difference between that watch and this one that I could tell is that that one has multi-band. And it might be made in Japan. That could be a thing. But that watch is like $250 or more in a lot of cases. And I just don't think it's worth it with you getting every feature that this one has with, you know, only multi-band in addition. Now, the third thing I like about this watch is the size. And I know in my last video on the 5600 watch or model, I said that that one is a great size. And it is. but I found myself wanting a little bit more, and I think this watch fits the bill. Okay, and with that size, I feel like there's added durability. I feel like you could really beat this watch up. As you can see here, it says mud resist, and obviously it's water resistant. Just this added size, you know, just gives it that extra oomph to me and gives you that greater degree of confidence. Also, I don't have to remind myself that this watch is high quality. So, you know, with the 5600 watch, like I said in that video, it is a quality watch, but when you pick this one up, there is a little bit more weight to it. So you don't automatically have to fight that knee-jerk reaction. Oh man, this feels cheap. It doesn't. You know, it feels a little bit more weighty, feels a little bit more premium than your standard digital watch. So that's really dope. And also, this is a mineral glass, which isn't super hard. It's not sapphire or anything like that. But on these G-Shocks, I really like that feature. You know, on the cheaper watches, you know, the $15, $20, $30 watches, there's like a thin film over the display. It's really soft and kind of flexy, so I don't really like that. Fourth and final thing I like about this watch is that I feel like it has every feature that you need. First of all, it's very durable. It's accurate. It has the quartz movement, even though it's not a multi-band. Who really uses that, and who knows how long that's going to be around? You know, the date and time are great. The size on this watch, it makes it easier to read. The auto light function, you know, helps if you're in like a greater amount of lighting, and the negative display, you know, is harder to look at or view. It has solar power, so you don't have to worry about changing the battery on the watch. You know, like I mentioned earlier, it does have the mineral crystal here. And so there's really nothing left to be desired on this watch, unless you're just really expanding your collection. This would be one of your primary G-Shocks that you would wear. This isn't, to me, one of the novelty ones, even though it is, you know, larger size square watch. I would say, you know, if you collect these watches, you probably have like 2 or 3 of them that would kind of be primary daily wear type watches, and the other ones you'll kind of pull out as kind of a novelty thing to me. I don't know. I mean, it varies by person. Okay. And lastly, the 2 things that I do not like on this watch. Number 1 is that it is a little bit too big for me. And I feel like I'm an average, slim guy. It could be about 25% smaller, and I'd be fine with that. You know, I really like the way Casio went with this, you know, go big or go home. Why make a watch that's 25% smaller? That probably wouldn't sell much differently than your standard, you know, square models. I mean, you need to be able to see this model and say, oh, wow, there's something different about that in order to motivate you to buy it. So I get why Casio did that. The last thing I don't like about this watch is in this area right here, like along these edges, you can see the rubber or resin on the inside of the display, that extra shock protection. And that's not something I think looks that great. If I'm being honest, I'd rather have that area blacked out to where you would just look at the display and see the digital display, and that's it. But those are minor things. Overall, this is an excellent watch. Very thick, very sturdy, you know, very utilitarian, strong, bold, all those adjectives. So I would say I highly recommend this watch, and I hope this video was somewhat informative to you. I know I didn't get super detailed into the watch. I never do with the programming and stuff. That's a bit tedious. You can look at the manual for that. Anyway, if you get the opportunity, check this watch out.